NATO and Yugoslav officials take an extended break in their talks on Serbian withdrawal from Kosovo. And in Indonesia, the polls will open in a matter of hours for the country's first free elections in more than 4 decades. From CNN in Atlanta, seen live around the world, this is WorldView. Hello, I'm Brian Nelson. Thank you for joining us. Talks between NATO and Yugoslav officials are still on hold 3 hours after they were set to resume. NATO wants Yugoslavia to sign an agreement on Serbian troop withdrawal from Kosovo. For now, the alliance remains empty-handed. CNN's Tom Mantier joins us now from the talks in Kumanovo, Macedonia. Tom?
Brian, it's not really clear whether there's been any progress after all these hours or not. They may be simply in the same place they were when they started the morning about 15 hours ago inside this tent behind me. There has been some movement of cars and people throughout the day, but as you look on the scene tonight, as we approach midnight here on the ground, there is very little movement. People are basically standing around waiting for some type of announcement, the announcement being whether they have an agreement or they're simply so deadlocked that they cannot continue. One NATO official said earlier in the evening that they wanted to finish this today. They did not want to drag it into a third day of discussions and talks. Apparently, there are some major sticking points still in the agreement as far as the Yugoslavs are concerned. They supposedly only have agreed to about 6 of 20 paragraphs that are in this 6-page document, and really having some difficulties moving beyond the 6 subsections that they supposedly agreed to. We did have a break earlier in the evening when they broke for 2 hours, and what NATO officials said was to give them a chance to reconsider their position and sign the agreement. And then after those 2 hours passed, Captain Simon Worthy, the NATO spokesman, came out and said that no agreement was yet signed.
We just have a document on the table. As you know, we want to go into Kosovo to implement a peace agreement to create a stable environment in Kosovo so that we can have the refugees, sort out the infrastructure and get the refugees back to their homes. That is why we as NATO forces are here. We want to implement that, and we have a document ready to sign. Okay, they have not decided to sign at this moment. We've given them a few more hours, or by mutual consent there's been a few more hours, and hopefully they will come back and sign.
So as it stands right now, the NATO bombing campaign continues. The refugees are still stuck in the camps. And the discussions, they may be getting back underway in the next few minutes, or they may be adjourned, unable to reach an agreement, hopelessly deadlocked at signing this military agreement that would pave the way for an end of the bombing in Kosovo and the rest of Yugoslavia. Brian?
Thank you, Tom. The CNN's Tom Mantier in Kumanovo, Macedonia. The G8 foreign ministers are scheduled to meet in Bonn on Monday to discuss the next step in the peace process. Among the participants is U.S. Secretary of State Madeleine Albright, who left for Germany on Sunday. After the G8 meeting, Albright is expected to meet with her Russian counterpart, Igor Ivanov, to discuss Russian participation in the international peacekeeping force in Kosovo. Well, despite the moves toward peace, the Yugoslav-Albanian border was the scene of intense NATO bombing. CNN's Martin Savage has that, and the latest on the newest Kosovo refugees to arrive in Albania.
NATO Sunday unleashed one of its most formidable weapons on the embattled area of the northern Albanian border crossing of Marini. B-52 bombers from miles overhead sent a devastating rain of bombs, falling on the area of Gorashub, just inside the Yugoslav province of Kosovo. The thunderous explosions pounded the air throughout the mountain valley. The force of the blast could be felt kilometers away. The mountain plateau had been the scene of a day-long artillery and mortar duel between Serb forces and members of the Kosovo Liberation Army. If NATO's show of force was meant to silence the two warring sides, it failed. Minutes later, the same hills were echoing with fierce exchanges of gunfire and artillery. Far from bringing relief to Kosovo refugees and the people of northern Albania, the NATO peace outline has brought a new wave of violence. Just the night before, residents cowered in bunkers as Serb guns opened up on Kruma and 2 other Albanian towns northeast of Kukës along the border. 1 woman was killed and 3 children were injured. Now authorities are evacuating Kosovo refugees that had used the area for shelter. Shells weren't the only things crossing the Albanian border Sunday. So were more men, said to have been just released from Serb captivity. Like those who came the day before, they said the Serbs beat them as they pushed them out of Kosovo. Several of the men had bloodied mouths, the result, they said, of Serb fists. They claim to have seen no indications of Serb troops preparing to leave. There are no signs of withdrawing, he says. They are only going from one place to another. KLA soldiers in Kosovo report seeing Yugoslav army troops and police taking part in a looting spree. Officials take that as a sign that Serb forces know they are leaving. Serb police and soldiers have started to go into each house, and they are robbing everything: appliances, refrigerators, TVs, VCRs, and they put them in a truck and leave. KLA officials also say the new heavy fighting is another indication of an impending pullout, with the Serbs delivering one last final round of attacks. In the refugee camps in Kukës, the UN has posted copies of the Kosovo peace plan for people to read. Few take notice, in part because it is written in English, but also because many continue to doubt it will work. With more refugees arriving with stories of abuse by the Serbs, and with more bombs and mortars landing on the border, in northern Albania, the only signs of peace are the words printed on a piece of paper. Martin Savage, CNN, Marini, Albania.
NATO is crediting the success of its air campaign for pushing Yugoslavia into accepting an international peace agreement on Kosovo. But as CNN's Carl Rochelle now reports from the Pentagon, some other factors played important roles.
It took more than 31,000 sorties by NATO aircraft and hundreds of cruise missiles from U.S. and British warships. But apparently, for the first time in the history of warfare, air power has achieved a victory.
If we had a listing of all the sound bites from all the pundits and analysts and commentators over the use of air power, myself included, who predicted that air power by itself would not work, it would be a very, very long list. But the fact is it has worked.
Since Germany's failed attempt to bomb Britain to its knees in World War II, military strategists have believed that air power without ground troops would ultimately fail. Even now, military officials are reluctant to give air power all the credit.
In this particular case, certainly speaks well of the professionalism, the capability and competence of our pilots, air crews, all involved in terms of the application of that air power to this objective. But it was a combination of factors, a combination of diplomacy, coupled with the isolation, the political isolation of Milosevic.
Airstrikes couldn't win the war in Vietnam, were a major factor in the Gulf War, but success ultimately came on the ground. What was different this time?
Primarily the intelligent use of targeting in this exercise. The targeting was focused on those targets that could bring the most impact on the Yugoslav leadership.
Since the start of the air campaign, NATO has destroyed most of Yugoslavia's bridges, oil refining capability, periodically shut down the country's electric power, and caused hundreds of casualties among Serb troops. Another difference this time, NATO's goals were limited. They were seeking to end the ethnic cleansing in Kosovo. And with a limited goal, the use of air power, support from the Allies, support from the Russians, and in the end, some help from Kosovo rebel forces on the ground, they apparently had enough to convince President Milosevic to agree to NATO's demands. I'm Carl Rochelle, CNN, reporting live from the Pentagon.
Yugoslav military commanders have several concerns about NATO's terms for a pullout out of Kosovo. The sources in Belgrade tell the Associated Press that one concern is the Kosovo Liberation Army. Yugoslavia's chargé d'affaires to the United Nations talked about the KLA a little earlier on CNN.
There is no any reason to suspect Yugoslavia not to comply with the new peace proposal, but the danger for that peace proposal can come rather from the other side. For example, NATO or Western countries should insist on the Republic of Albania to withdraw the recognition of the independent state of Kosovo, which has been extended to that phantom state in October 1991. And KLA units in northern Albania should be entirely disarmed before they start crossing into Kosovo and Yugoslavia as the troublemakers.
Joining us now from New York with the other side of that story is Shanasi Rama. He is of the Kosovo Liberation Army, a spokesman for the KLA. He joins us now. Thank you for being with us, Mr. Rama.
Good to be with you, Mr. Nelson.
Are the KLA troublemakers, are they going to honor any peace agreement we see?
Well, absolutely not. The KLA is the least problematic aspect of the crisis in Kosovo. The most problematic aspect of the crisis, obviously, are the Serb military forces, Serb police, and the Serb paramilitaries that
I'm sorry, Mr. Rama, though, but can I get to the question? Will the KLA honor whatever peace agreement is signed?
Well, the KLA will honor any peace agreement which will remove the source of unhappiness and the suffering of the Albanian people.
Will the troops...
Of the people of Kosovo.
Right, and will KLA troops disarm, as is called for in that agreement?
The KLA is a popular army. The KLA is armed with arms that you can buy in the U.S. in the Kmart, arms to hound any animals, and basically every American has this kind of weapons in their homes. We don't understand why this kind of total disarming of the people of Kosovo is being asked, when KLA is an army right now composed only of people that are doing nothing else but defending themselves from the Serb aggression, the Serb genocide.
Will the leadership of the KLA allow its soldiers to go about exacting revenge on the departing Serb troops, even after a peace agreement is signed?
The Provisional Government of Kosovo and the Prime Minister Hashim Thaçi have made it very clear that KLA will honor its own commitments. It will continue to be a reliable partner to the international community, and it will make sure that all its own obligations are fulfilled.
There are so many conflicting factions inside the KLA. How can Hashim Thaçi speak for all of them?
But there are no conflicting factions within the KLA. The Kosovo Liberation Army, it's an army which has a very well organized structure. It has an excellent chain of command, commanded by the professional officers that have been trained in some of the best military colleges in Europe. And it is, as I said, an army of the people that have taken up their own weapons to achieve only one goal. And that goal that unites all of them is to defend their own families from the Serb aggression, and at the same time to help in establishing a free and democratic Kosovo.
Let me ask you, what do we expect to see when NATO peacekeepers enter Kosovo, confront some of the KLA forces, and demand they return or drop their weapons and turn them over? What's going to happen then?
I don't think that NATO will go there to ask for any disarmament of the KLA, because if NATO troops, wherever they will go, they will be received with all due respect and with the recognition that that the people of Kosovo has to give to such a force which, in a sense, is there to protect them from the Serb aggression.
All right, thank you for taking the time to join us. Shanasi Rama,
good to be with you, Mr. Nelson.
Spokesman for the Kosovo Liberation Army in New York. Thank you. And for a behind-the-scenes look at the efforts to end the crisis in Kosovo, Christian Amanpour will have an exclusive interview with the British Prime Minister Tony Blair. And that will be on CNN at Time, and that happens at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And still to come on WorldView, escalating tensions in Kashmir, fighting a border conflict high in the Himalayas behind the lines in Pakistan. Plus, we'll show you a rare night landing for the space shuttle.
Main gear touchdown.
Hertz Freedom rates for AAA members, only $26.99 a day in the U.S.
Guys, come and see my castle.
With the freedom to pick up and drop off anytime. Just keep it over a Saturday night. Hertz will provide the great rates.
What castle?
The rest is up to you. Hertz Freedom rates for AAA members, only $26.99 a day in the U.S. With the freedom to pick up and drop off anytime. Just keep it over a Saturday night. Hertz will provide the great rates. The rest is up to you.
The kids come first. They're always on your mind. They're always first and foremost there. I'm Cynthia Hodges. I work at Ford Motor Company. I'm an engineer, and I'm also a mom.
We're the people who buy and use WinStar.
We know what it's like to have kids, and that helped us design this car. It's full of ideas that moms will love.
I'm able to open the doors and they're not blinded by a dome light.
Because you never want to wake a sleeping baby.
That allows me to listen to the music I like, and my kids can listen to what they like in the back.
My mom's favorite type of music is old stuff.
This sensor is really smart. The beeps get faster as you're about to back into something. Beep, 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 beep.
Parents always want the best for their children. The safety ratings. Safety was of utmost importance, and the 5-star rating was a big deal.
I designed it for my neighbors. I designed it for my playgroup. I designed it for what's now become a part of my life.
Hey, my mom built that car.
Better ideas, driven by you.
No, this isn't a jeans commercial. It's about constipation. You're bloated, not yourself. If your size 10s feel like 2s.
FiberCon has natural fiber action to relieve bloating constipation.
I'm myself again.
FiberCon. Be regular. Be yourself.
India launched a new round of airstrikes in the disputed region of Kashmir Sunday. For 12 days, India has been trying to rout hundreds of heavily armed intruders back across the military control line with Pakistan. CNN's Kawsar Naji has the view from the Pakistani-controlled portion of Kashmir.
Firing artillery rounds into the Indian-held territory in the name of God. These soldiers are some 12 kilometers from the Indian town of Kargil, the flashpoint in this latest conflict over Kashmir. Pakistani troops here say India has stepped up its cross-border shelling and they're firing back.
Intensity of fire is almost 50 to 60 rounds. It's an average. Sometimes it's more than 100 rounds per day.
Allahu Akbar! The guns are placed right on the edge of the village, forcing most residents to evacuate. This man says he has sent his wife and 8 children away, and they now live in a cave. The situation is tense enough for the general in charge of this sector to describe the flare-up here as a war.
We have not lost even a single inch of Pakistani territory so far. And inshallah, in future also, we will defend each and every inch of our territory. So, the situation, as far as we are concerned, is under control.
This is a very costly conflict. Many of the forward positions here have to be resupplied regularly using helicopters. If this conflict extends into a bigger war, it could spell ruin for both countries, among the poorest in the world. These light helicopters are being used to fly men and supplies to individual positions on top of peaks in an area known as the rooftop of the world. Both sides are finding out the limitations of fighting at such high altitudes. On the ground, more men are sent to forward positions as both sides reinforce in a dangerous escalation between 2 nuclear powers. Kawsar Naji, CNN, Northern Pakistan.
And coming up next on WorldView, Election Day in Indonesia. What's at stake in that country's first open balloting in decades?
In the music business, trends change fast. So we're helping the world's largest music companies develop global supply strategies that not only keep them in step with what's happening today, but also anticipate what will happen next.
Let's bulk up!
Whatever that is. PricewaterhouseCoopers, join us. Together we can change the world.
148 million people on the internet. 67,000 more jump in every day. With so many people doing so much business, no wonder it's sometimes so unpredictable. And that's where we come in. We make the things that make the internet faster, more reliable, everything you always imagined it could be. Lucent Technologies. We make the things that make communications work.
Keeping track of the financial market leaves little time for anything else. Luckily, he doesn't have to. He has a friend in the market with global resources and no particular stocks or mutual funds to push or sales quotas to meet. We're Raymond James. We'll take the time to learn about his financial goals, his dreams, and yes, even his recent hole-in-one. Raymond James, committed to your financial future. future.
Opening arguments start at 9:30 whether this arthritis pain goes away or not. So I took Advil liquid gels. Nothing's been proven stronger on arthritis pain. They're the only pain reliever with liquid inside. Advil liquid gels. Stronger than pain.
I'm watching you, CNN.
In a little less than 2 hours from now, Indonesians will head to the polls for parliamentary elections, the nation's first truly democratic elections in 44 years. CNN Jakarta Bureau Chief Maria Ressa looks at the choices.
This generation of Indonesians has never seen anything like it. A parade of 48 political parties in a country which until last year had only 3. Under Suharto's 32-year rule, elections here were a highly controlled exercise, the results known before campaigns even began. Now a dramatic break from the past, because in this election, no one knows who will win, and the mood is euphoric. It's an emotional overflow, says this man. For so long we couldn't speak up. Now we're like animals let out of the cage. On Monday, 130 million voters will choose 462 members of a new parliament. Add to that 38 military seats. That 500-member body will be joined by 200 other regional and local representatives to form the People's Consultative Assembly, Indonesia's highest legislative body tasked with selecting the country's next president. With so many choices, Indonesians are starting young. Long live PDIP, yells this boy. Members of PDIP, the Indonesian Democratic Party in struggle, outnumbered its opponents during the campaigns. Most analysts agree PDIP's leader, Megawati Soekarno-Putri, is the most popular politician in Indonesia today. Catapulted to fame 3 years ago when Suharto pushed her out as leader of one of the 3 parties. She fought back, and that captured the imagination of millions of Indonesians. I like her struggle, says the supporter. I sympathize with her, says another.
I want to encourage our people, to educate our people to have the courage to understand and fight for their rights.
The PDIP's main rival is the ruling party Golkar, which has never lost an election. Critics say that's because past elections were rigged, tainted by vote buying and coercion. But Golkar says that is history.
This is the new Golkar, which is correcting the mistakes of the past. Is there anyone who's never made a mistake? We admit we were wrong.
Few are listening, at least in Jakarta, where Golkar supporters are ridiculed, its cars attacked. Here, Golkar's float says, "Don't forget." They meant to vote Golkar, but this crowd showed it couldn't forget Golkar kept Suharto in power for decades. When the float passed by, crowds hissed, one man waving money, old tactics now ridiculed. On Friday, during Golkar's rally, flags were torn, a motorcycle torched, warning shots fired. But the mood is different in the countryside. Many of these workers say they have always voted Golkar and are now confused by their choices. 39-year-old Kaya says she may vote for Golkar again. Life under Suharto was better, she says. At least I could afford the price of rice. Kaya may not be alone. 65% of Indonesian voters are less educated, rural residents.
Polls open in a little less than 2 hours. It's a little before dawn here now. This election, however, is only the first step in Indonesia's transition to democracy. With 48 political parties, it becomes virtually impossible for any one party to get a majority of the seats. That means a period of relative uncertainty and coalition building until a new president is chosen later this year. This is Maria Ressa reporting live from Jakarta. Back to you, Brian.
Thanks, Maria. Still ahead on WorldView, a hard-fought battle on clay. You can call him Grand Slam Andre from now on. We'll have the details after the break.
Unleash power, sell more per hour, get business going, keep it growing, change ammunition, kill competition, unlock data, make profits fatter, take sharper aim, boost market gain, save more time, more peace of mind, forge better ties, economize, link devices without a crisis. Our technology is hot, we are the dot.
I'm a junior VP, and all the junior VPs have one of these. So I'll just call my secretary, and then she'll... Voicemail. Chuck, number 4's down.
Gotcha. I'm a mailroom guy, and all the mailroom guys get to see the phones that the senior VPs get.
Nextel's two-way radio feature makes ordinary cell phones seem ordinary.
In the music business, trends change fast. So we're helping the world's largest music companies develop global supply strategies that not only keep them in step with what's happening today, but also anticipate what will happen next.
Let's bulk up!
Whatever that is. PricewaterhouseCoopers, join us. Together we can change the world.
The politicians in Washington are raiding the Social Security Trust Fund. And Steve Forbes wants to stop them. That way we can preserve Social Security for this generation and for generations to come. Vote Steve Forbes for president.
With Shuttle Discovery now back on Earth, NASA is looking ahead to next month's scheduled launch of the Shuttle Columbia. But Discovery cut a path through the dark Florida sky early Sunday morning, wrapping up a 10-day mission to the International Space Station. The crew of 7 performed repairs and dropped off supplies for the station's first inhabitants. And now it's time to take a look at the weather. It's 26 minutes past the hour. Jill Brown standing by with, yes, more tornado watches.
You got it, Brian. It has been a rough weekend. It looks like tomorrow will be better, but in the meantime, we have a number of watches. Severe thunderstorm watches in yellow. Red indicates tornado watches. And always keep in mind that even if you have a severe thunderstorm watch, that doesn't mean you will not have tornadoes. As a matter of fact, this is one of the spots where we've had them this evening. We'll get in close to the Chicago area, which still is looking fine, but we've had confirmed reports of tornadoes in western Illinois and now up into parts of Wisconsin. Right around the Milwaukee area, counties of Ozaukee and Waukesha, hopefully I'm pronouncing those correctly, you have a tornado warning right now. In Waukesha County, it is a confirmed tornado sighted near North Prairie. Also in Taylor County, and you can really pick out the storm up here because it has just a little bit of a curvature to it, which is often an indication of a tornado. Taylor County, a tornado warning is in effect. This is also a sighted tornado near Rib Lake. I want to take you a little farther south and show you thunderstorms actually west and coming in toward Minneapolis, so get ready here. Des Moines, thunderstorms are developing to your west, and Kansas City so far not too bad actually, but we'll keep an eye on your weather through this evening. And west of Memphis, we have some thunderstorms. Dallas, you're looking okay. Last stop northeast, and the Storm Prediction Center is monitoring this area. There's not a lot going on, but we have a few strong thunderstorms and the potential for severe weather here as well. Promises to be a very busy evening. Tomorrow looks better, though, Brian, so we'll get to that next time.
Okay, thanks, Jill. Andre Agassi won his first French Open, making him the 5th man to win all 4 Grand Slam events. Agassi had a tough opponent, though, in Ukrainian Andrei Medvedev. Agassi lost the first 2 sets to Medvedev, but then rallied back to win the last 3. An emotional Agassi promised never to forget Sunday's final match at the French Open. And that's it for this edition of WorldView. We thank you for joining us. Business Unusual is next for our domestic viewers.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Bell Atlantic, your guide through the wiles of communications.
Tonight, the 50s and 60s, Rosa Parks takes a courageous step and sparks a national civil rights movement. And a rebel named Dean hits the big screen tonight on CNN.
Explore your horizon. Explore. Expand your choice. Experience HBO and Cinemax. Order HBO and get HBO that works. Extra channels at no extra cost. Add Multimax for 2 channels of Cinemax. Order 2 channels, get 5. Make the call for exceptional entertainment. Exceptional.
Homeowners save up to 25% or $2,000 or more on a beautiful new sunroom from American Aluminum and bring the beauty of nature into your home. High energy efficiency, stronger walls and roof, and the best value for your investment. Call now for special savings. And if you're tired of painting and scraping and repairing rotten wood on your home, American Aluminum can end those problems now. Call us and save up to 20% on premium vinyl siding and custom trim. That's American Aluminum, 781-2400. Call now.
The Moneyline News Hour with Lou Dobbs, weeknight 6:30 Eastern on CNN.
Hello, I'm Brian Nelson with a quick look at the hour's top stories. Talks on Serbian troop withdrawal from Kosovo are stalled.